JT, and welcome to What Grinds My Gears, the show where we sit there, we gripe, bitch, grumble, piss, and moan about all the things in the world that piss us off because at the end of the day, it's still cheaper than therapy. Griping, complaining, alcohol, and basically JT's really cringe face right there included. This is basically a great chance for us to... Yeah, I think, by the way, thank you, JT, for coming on. I appreciate that. Yes.
God, JT is awesome.
Oh,
He
God,
is
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, so basically, thank you for coming on. I appreciate that. We got a few things that we're going to talk about tonight. Maybe talk a little bit with the Grammys. Brandon K may pop on for a couple minutes because he just finished up a basketball show and he's doing the NCAA finals tonight. So he might pop on for a couple minutes before he has to get ready for that. And I know he wants to bitch about the Grammys. I also want to talk a little bit about Morbius, which surprisingly pulled in a good amount of money this past weekend, and also my general desire to bitch, and complain about politics. Not about basically opinions in politics, but rather people having opinions in politics. Oh, yeah.
I'm going to label these one day.
I can't do the Zoom thing. You know, JT is good with that, so I'll give it
to
JT.
You just kind of sit there and do one of these. You know?
See, this is all I can do. But him, he got the Zoom
factor.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God, that is pure. Damn, I was going to actually zoom that in, basically, to make it only you. Only you can freak us out.
Because it's half the time it goes up my nose, and no one needs to see that.
But how you gentlemen doing? You all right?
We're fantastically well. I'm fantastically well.
I'm in actually a very good mood. I'm in the best mood I've been in a very long time. I don't think I'm actually angry enough to be on this show tonight. I may not qualify.
Well, one person who probably is going to be okay to qualify is Mr. Brandon K. Like I said, he just finished up his basketball show, and he's covering basketball tonight. So, welcome aboard. I know you want to complain about the Grammys.
Yes, I do have Championship Monday to get ready for, but I couldn't pass up even a 5-minute opportunity to go absolutely ballistic on the institution that is the Grammys. Okay. All right. So we have whatever you want to call award ceremony, theatrical nonsense that the Grammy puts on a year-to-year basis. Okay. Now, we're all familiar. Yeah. We are all familiar with these award shows and their in memoriam parts where they do their best effort to remember all in that community that they have lost over the last year, which in it, as a concept, obviously I have all the respect for, but it has to be done correctly. So last night, the Grammys had their in memoriam ceremony with Trevor Noah introducing it and specifically talking about Foo Fighters drummer Taylor Hawkins, who passed very recently. And they had this whole very beautiful, almost minute and a half video montage. You hear Dave Grohl talking in the background. This beautiful thing about the passing of Taylor Hawkins, which is great, which is fantastic. And I think absolutely needs to be, it's deserving. However, we go back one clock year to March, I think it was 5th or 6th, 2021, where this very same Grammys in this very same in memoriam part of the show had the worst tribute for one Eddie Van Halen that I absolutely almost got physically sick over. Because if you remember, and you can go look this up, it was no more than 20 seconds of seeing this soundless, video of him playing the guitar on stage, just, a black and white video. And then they show on stage his Frankenstrat guitar, which is the red with the black and white stripes all over it, on a guitar stand by itself with this spotlight on it, like I was at this glorified grave site. No, nobody said a damn thing about him. They didn't have any real video montage about him. And I just wanted to put it into perspective that I think Eddie Van Halen is the greatest guitarist to have ever lived. And I want it to be known also, if you take the whole Taylor Hawkins aspect of it, I'm not so sure Taylor Hawkins would be playing music if it weren't for Eddie Van Halen's not only guitar influence, but overall impact in music. And for them to do last year what they did with that, and to kind of make up for whatever, it's absolutely absurd, and it gets me so angry with the Grammys. And that's not even just the way they view rock and metal music anyway. Going back to when Jethro Damn Tull and their freaking flutes won the metal Grammy over Metallica.
1989, yeah.
And it's just between the Grammys and the Hall of Fame, the two of them together that I have to deal with on a yearly basis. Just, that's all I had to say. That really is.
And this comes on the heels of what happened with the Oscars last week, where they left out in their memoriam people like Meatloaf. Ed Asner. Yeah, Bob Saget. They left out Bob Saget, for God's sakes. Meatloaf. Yeah.
They left out Ed Asner?
Yes, they did. They left out Ed Asner out of it. Now, I have my own theories on it, my little tinfoil hat theories when it comes to that. But yeah, I don't know what it is lately with the memoriam. If people are just like, well, this is getting in the way of basically who's currently here and what ad revenue we can make from this. You know, where it's like, we're going to have our little tribute. Good. But let's move on to the stuff that's really good for ratings.
Wasn't Ed Asner in charge of the Academy at one point?
He was the head of SAG for a few years too. Yes. Back in the early 80s. Back when he was doing Lou Grant, not Mary Tyler Moore, but the dramatic spinoff. But he also won I believe he won an Academy Award for Up. He was in Up.
Yeah, which was 12 years ago.
He was Up.
Yeah.
He was Up, yeah. You know, and I mean, okay, a lot of his stuff, granted, was TV, but I mean, he had a very, very successful and very strong movie career as well. And again, was a president of the Screen Actors Guild, and they left him out. So it was curious. Like I said, they left out.
At the same time, you know what I thought was really stupid? Did any of you watch the YouTube video of Samuel L. Jackson being presented the Lifetime Achievement Award? And that wasn't televised. That was done the night before.
I know.
No, I didn't even hear about. Yeah, no, I can't. I can't deal with these institutions, man. I really can't.
I thought that was broadcast.
No, that was not done the day before the Academy Awards.
Yeah, they do a lot of that stuff.
Slap in the face. That is truly a slap in the face.
Yeah. Not to mention the fact that guys like barely 60 years old, maybe.
But I mean, and you can't even use the excuse of, well, you have to do what's popular, because Samuel L. Jackson's been popular for the last 30 years. Why wouldn't you show that?
True. His star hasn't I don't know when the last time was his star was ever even this high.
So yeah. I have nothing else to add to that. I kind of agree with that. I don't know if I fully agree with the Eddie Van Halen thing. I don't watch the Grammys because it's the Grammys. But from the way you described it, at least, I would have to see it. But from the way you describe it, it sounds pretty honorable.
But it's even if that was, let's say that was the way they did it consistently for everybody. I just think the level, it's got to be, you got to do better than that. You can look it up. Just going from the 11, 12 seconds that was showing this guitar in a spotlight on a stand with this musicless, soundless. Just
how old was Eddie Van Halen and how did he die?
Youngish, you know, like early mid 60s and of cancer. But not even that. I mean, like Eddie. I mean,
the band was named after the guy, for God's sake.
In fairness,
fucking Van Halen.
Yeah. Funny enough, there was actually when I was at my previous job, I used to listen to our New York-based radio station just to kind of make sure it was on the air. And our news reports were the same for every station we had. And when we did the news around the world, the day that Eddie Van Halen died, it was just like, this important story, 2 minutes. This important story, 1 minute. Also, in the world of music, Eddie Van Halen died. Well, that was it for the 3 minutes of the news. We'll be back in 10 minutes.
It's ridiculous.
It pretty much sounds like they had an issue with Eddie Van Helsing. Like they had no respect for the guy.
You know, Van Halen, though. I mean,
and if that's the case, that's the problem. I mean, what people do we have in these high institutions that's supposed to recognize the greatness of music, but you're not going to do that. You're not living up to your own values. And when this came out, I was so upset that I looked up tickets to go to the Grammys headquarters and go outside and protest.
But you got to look at what
As of-
society is like.
I,
The music value is not as high like it used to be, like the 80s or the 90s. Like
Well, that
those
was
were
First off,
Van
but the
Halen.
thing-
Actually, I was going to say for that
No,
matter.
if you've gone to any sports stadium or you've listened to any kind of moderately modern, like if you've heard Jump, you've heard some of these songs, like Eddie fucking Van Halen. All of these guitars today, where if you want to break, my inspiration's inspiration, it all leads back to Van Halen. And it's just the inconsistency of disrespect and the levels of disrespect. It just gets me so really upset and mad.
I hate to say it. For me, this would be a roll eye moment. This would be a this is stupid moment. But sir, as an angry complainer, I got to say you might be a little too angry over this.
No, it keeps me up at night. I think I am perfect. I am perfectly in the right amount. I'm in a sweet spot of anger on this topic. It's just
he's just staring at the ceiling, going, Eddie Van Halen. They screwed Eddie Van Halen.
Well, actually, this might make you feel better.
Come on, like I had to. Come on, do better. Grammys, do better.
Dude, you know what? But here's the thing. The Grammys are so,
That's all I gotta
especially
say.
more now than ever. It's all about what is recent. You know,
Right.
I mean, when you look at the 1835, listen, I'm not defending.
Well, you know what's recent? His son, who's at the top of the rock charts.
But that's his son.
So you know
That's
what?
Robin
But
Thicke
it's
to
all.
Alan
It's
Thicke.
all.
When
You know
Alan
what?
Thicke died, people were like, "Oh my God,
We gotta be better. We gotta be better.
I know, but like I
that's
said,
all I gotta
nowadays
say.
it's so much more about. I mean, Blink 182 is considered oldies now.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I was listening. I mean,
Which is fine.
something
You're going to be respectful about it. And
Yeah,
when
but-
Tom DeLonge dies, give him the proper send off.
Well, if that makes you feel any better, I had a conversation with somebody today, and it dawned on me.
Yeah. Then I got to bounce.
All right. How much do you know about Danzig?
Well enough that I would be able. You could talk to me about this.
Okay. Steve Zing.
Yeah.
I realized that I know him, and I know him really well because the guy that owns this house, Steve Zing, was in his wedding party. Because ironically enough, the weird thing about this is that this guy is married to Steve Zing's ex, and they are like stupid tight, and they go to parties together.
That's really funny.
When Steve Zing got married in Las Vegas, they flew out to Vegas. His ex-wife and her eventual husband flew out to hang out. So,
That's great.
So
7 degrees where everyone knows each other by 7 degrees.
Dude, yeah. So you know, like I said, if it makes you feel any better about the whole Eddie Van Halen thing, you know, I could probably get you some Danzig here.
You know what? That would make me feel actually a little bit better. Yeah, I would.
You know,
I would feel better.
So,
Yeah.
Because it turns out Danzig was actually formed in this town, in Lodi.
Yes,
Yeah,
they were.
so
Anyway, yes. So that's all I have to say tonight. But I do have a Kansas North Carolina game to get ready for tonight. But I didn't want to miss this opportunity.
okay. The views that we got on the North Carolina Duke reaction actually has been one of the best ones on that side for a little while. So yeah, I'm happy with that. So yeah, do that. And tonight I'll be editing the crap out of it as soon as the clock hits 0.
We'll have firework reactions tonight.
Hell yes, sir. Thank you. So
Definitely. So
right.
anyway, you guys
champagne?
enjoy the rest of the night. What's that?
Do I have to bring the champagne?
Yeah, do it. We'll pop them. We'll bring Glenn. We'll all pop, and I'll feel better about this whole thing.
Okay.
Go run like the devil. Have a good night, sir.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Enjoy your night, guys.
All right. So that was basically Mr. Brandon K popping in very quickly. Again, he has to handle stuff with actually the NCAA finals right now, which is going to be pretty cool. Him and I believe JD Walker, possibly Ernesto, are going to handle that. So that was him. Like it or hate it, that's basically his take on that, which probably, frankly, didn't surprise me that much. Do you guys have any thoughts on that before I move on?
Not really.
No.
Okay. You're just like, no, I'm okay.
No, we're good.
Yeah, you're fine. Now, as you can see, as we move on to the big crux of this conversation, I personally do not have a problem with politicians. Politicians do what politicians do, and that's the way it's been pretty much since the dawn of time.
Right.
What I do have a problem with, however, is voters. This, by the way, was something that actually came my way back in 2020, because I did not support a candidate that they were very emphatically insistent on the fact that I supported them. You can see in there we have, let's say, one fucking, one fuck, and a capital letter fuck you. So we got 4 fuck yous and a fucking in there. This, by the way, was posted on my Facebook wall because I did not actually vote for or support the candidate that they had chosen. I'm not going to go into specifics on which side it is because honestly, it doesn't matter either way. Yeah. But something happened to me the other day that really, really irked me and gave me the need to want to go into this. First off, do you guys have any thoughts on this particular thing that was posted on my wall back in the election of 2020?
It's a lot of fucks.
Yeah. It makes me want to go and find some chick too. You know what?
I kind of want to read this out. But because a bunch of blues said some bad words, I am wasting my fucking vote. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Your selfishness is more important than you than anything for anyone else. And again, fuck you.
Yes.
Wait. I'll do it even better.
This time, I'll do it good.
But because a bunch of blues said some bad words, I'm wasting my fucking vote. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. You're cool, but fuck you too. Your selfishness is more important to you than anything for anyone else. And again, fuck you.
All right, so now it's going to be my turn. And because of the fact that you guys did it normally, I'm going to give it my best impression to do this as Kermit the Frog. But because a bunch of blues said some bad words, I am wasting my fucking vote. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. Your selfishness is more important to you than anyone else. Again, fuck you.
Do you want me to do the Joker impression, Mark?
Is this going to be the show now? We're just going to figure out every different way to read this.
Yes, we should. You want me to do the Mark Hamilton Joker?
Please. Oh my God. Please.
But because a bunch of blues says some bad words, I wasted my fucking vote. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Your selfishness is more important to you than anything for anyone else. And fuck you.
Nice. Oh, that is great. Thank you so much on that. But now I don't know if I can be serious now after that. But, But yeah, this was actually posted on my Facebook wall because by the way, you guys know me, you know my Facebook wall, but people know, if you look at my Facebook, basically 95% of it is funny pictures from Reddit and like Family Feud, top 6 answers on the board, name something that you don't want to actually have when you go to school, boom, problem solved like that. That is where I want to get into this. Now, JT, you've known me for a lot of years at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I used to do, especially during COVID, I used to do Family Feud every single night.
Mm-hmm.
And I've tapered off a lot in the previous few years or last couple of years because of the fact that everybody, and I mean everybody on both sides of the political fence, are sitting there using Family Feud as a platform for their personal beliefs. Not only that, they're getting pissed at me for not allowing them to do so on my Facebook page. I have had private messages with them. I have sent them messages personally and being like, this is Family Feud. This is designed not to be there for the purposes of your political beliefs. You can have your beliefs. You can do whatever you want with your beliefs. I am not saying you can't. What I'm asking you to do is don't put them on my Facebook page when I have a Family Feud night when people want escapism after their shitty day or whatever's treating them like crap in the news media. I have gotten messages like this one from people arguing about their right to sit there and spout out their personal beliefs on, how Trump sucks, how Biden sucks, Hillary's a bitch, Fox News is the devil, whatever the fuck it is, over and over and over. And they're getting mad at me because I won't let them do it on my page. Please go ahead.
Because the issue is mentally, they want to be heard. They
Then
don't
find
get it at
someplace
home.
else.
So they think that if they're able to be heard, they could get away with doing it in certain people's platforms or certain people's pages. And when people like us pretty much tell people, can you please stop posting negativity or political views on my page? I would like to keep it peaceful and calm. You know what they say to us? You want to know what they say to us?
Fuck you.
Is
Exactly.
Mm.
Do they
Yeah.
say, but because a bunch of blues said some bad words, I am wasting my fucking.
It's weird. Here's the weird thing. When Trump was president, I had to have that conversation with the anti-Trump movement every single friggin' night. Now, I'm having it pretty much every single day with the anti-Biden movement.
Like I-
And it's really, like I said, it was gone for a while when Biden became president. But now I'm seeing people on the other side of the fence that are sitting there and being like, well, basically, this would be better if Biden wasn't president. Fucking Grandpa Biden. It's like, oh my God, shut the fuck up, man. It's Family Feud. It's like, name 3 things that you want to see on a dog. And it's like, well, basically, how about, that I'll take that collar and put it on Hillary. It's like, shut the hell up, my God. It's like, oh my Christ, man. And I've stopped more or less doing Family Feud because I've gotten tired of it. I've stopped more or less doing pictures from Reddit because I am sick and fucking tired of having this conversation with people privately or publicly, whatever it is, and being like, dude, keep your politics on your own friggin' page. Let me have mine and don't get mad at me for not letting you voice whatever your angry, pissed off, voting belief is. You have your own page. You have thousands of Facebook pages. Don't use mine.
As a show about, I'm sorry,
sorry.
Devani.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, as a show dedicated to people who are angry and speak angrily for entertainment purposes, this is going to be a little mild. But basically, I try at least not to get into it with social media with most people because I realize how futile it really is. I have a Twitter account, but I don't actively post on it. I have an Instagram, but it's just basically pictures of places I visited. And my only true
by the way, Manhattan, by the way, I don't point that out.
Yeah.
good stuff. But it's my only real social media is my Facebook page, and I realized after a while, like I had a little nest of people who were very right wing, and I had a lot of people, especially because we are media people. I had a lot of people very, very left wing. And one day I decided to take a look through my friends list, and it went from, I think, somewhere around 430 people to 220 because I just started going through people and going, done with you, done with you, done with you. And not people I was like, if I see them in real life, I wouldn't like totally blow them off, but it's like, I don't want you reading any of my stuff anymore. I don't want you commenting on my stuff anymore. I don't want to read your stuff anymore. It's best if we just don't talk for a while.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you know what? Oh, sorry.
No, please.
Okay, so and it's a pretty much a release for you as the individual because once you have a toxic person and they're always toxic, you have to get rid of the cancer.
Yep.
I cut it out.
That's what you got to do with cancer in general. Yeah. Now, I will be honest with you. I used to be very, very, very political when I was younger. Imagine a teenager who never listened to whatever was top 40 and instead spent 8 hours a day at least listening to talk radio. That was me as a teenager. So I'm well versed in how the emotions go with that. But I grew out of that shit when I was 18 because I realized that basically, arguing with people that are not going to see it your way is a waste of energy.
Exactly.
But apparently what I learned at 18, and I'm a slow grower in a lot of ways. I really am slow on the uptake in a lot of ways. The fact that I picked this up at 18, but I still have to have this conversation with 60-year-olds bothers me a little bit. Now
6 years old?
60 years old, 60.
Oh.
Sorry, I fumbled it a little bit when I said that. Yeah. So for me, it was one of those things that I just want to be left alone. You're allowed to have whatever your beliefs are. I'm not debating that either way. I got my own attitude, but I'm trying to make everything that I do, for the most part, escapism from that. Streampunk entertainment is meant to be escapism from current events as much as possible. Uplifting stories in a minute. I had that. I'm going to show you this one in a sec too. when I did JT remembers this, but I have a channel that I'm getting back to called Uplifting Stories in a Minute. And what it is very simply short 1-minute stories about just average people doing awesome things for humanity. Nothing exciting, nothing really involved. So that's one basic example. If you see that picture there,
I see no pictures.
then that's because I took it off. So this was a story I did at one point. This is a girl that was a 17-year-old girl who who invented medical stitches that change color when there's infection. So typically when you have an infection, you have to wait for the infection to physically show before the doctors can take action. This 17-year-old woman figured out a way to actually have the discoloration show up before the infection really took to the surface, so doctors can get a head start on it. 17 years old, won like the teenage junior Nobel Peace Prize, something like that. She won like a huge academic award. 17-year-old woman. Now you can see what this entire channel is right here. Let me hide that. You get a feel for what this is. I mean, just it's a puppet on a green screen, average, just 1-minute stories about just cool people doing cool shit. This one gave me, in this case here, and I want to pull this one up. This was great. With regards to that, if you can read that, and I'm going to zoom that in a little bit.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know in this particular case which one is the dummy, me or basically Herb Herbansky. But I have a channel involving, like I said, a puppet on a green screen talking about average people doing awesome things for humanity. And I'm getting trolled on it because this person in particular griped about the fact that I called a 17-year-old a woman and not a child or not a teenager. Now, go ahead.
Historically, she already, she's being developed at that age. She's not yet a woman, but at the same time, she is considered a woman by. And I get what you're saying when you said woman.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to give her, you know what it is? I wanted to give her some respect when I did it. Be like, okay, 17, teenager, fine. But I figured basically from her perspective, when you're 17, you want to be referred to as an adult. You may not legally be one, but up here you think you are.
Right.
And I wanted to try and honor that because of the fact that she did something no doctor had ever done before. No scientist had ever done before. And surprisingly enough, even though I did this, I was getting trolled messages. I've gotten these kind of messages on other like Herb videos from people who just troll the shit out of me just because of the fact that they found one minutia thing. And I'm like, dude, it's a story about a girl who invented something no scientist ever did before, and because I called her a woman and not a teenager, you got pissed at me.
Well, I mean, offline, you and I have talked about this a bit. In fact, you were the ones who kind of calmed me down to a certain degree on the opinions of other people. And I think the way I try to think of it sometimes when I am of a sound mind is that there are 600 million people in the United States. I forget how many billion across the world.
7.
I mean, you're going to find people who are going to agree with you. You're going to find people who are going to disagree with you. You're going to find people who are sane and want the best for everyone. You're going to find people who want to watch the world burn. And I mean, sometimes you just got to look at someone and go, should I take this seriously? Should I even address it? And with stuff like this,
I'm taking it seriously and I'm never addressing it.
We're making an entire show about that's how serious we're taking this.
Well,
but
this put me down a rabbit hole when I was pulling up like the voter stuff. That I'm like, oh yeah, let me see if I can find that. So I'm digging through and trying to find this one particular comment.
Well, I can't think of her last name at the moment, but Lindsay, formerly of that guy with the glasses, also formerly known as Nostalgia Check. Lindsay Ellis. She got canceled, I guess, a little while back because she said something on Twitter, and then someone went down the rabbit hole and found every bad thing she ever said online. And she kind of responded with I think a 1 to 2 hour video essay about pretty much just about how scummy the internet can be and how like everyone is just looking to get you for something.
Yeah.
Like with Twitter specifically, like someone could say something wrong on Twitter, it gets totally misinterpreted. That person gets bashed by someone and for like like, I'm righteous, you're in the wrong, we have to cancel you. And then 3 months later, that person that led the charge, they find something on that person, and then that person's next to be canceled. So it just feels like I don't like this culture where the seal, like what Dave Chappelle says, cancel culture, where we're just like looking for everyone to be a absolute saint and have never said or done or anything wrong whatsoever.
And I
ahead.
hate bringing up the biblical aspect when they was about to throw a stone at a woman because of her infidelity, and they said, and Jesus basically walked in and said, "He who cast the first stone."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
But he who without sin cast the first stone. Was that Matthew?
I think that was Matthew.
Mm.
But
I mean, I'm
think
not-
about it.
Yeah.
That quote basically indicate if you ever sinned or did anything wrong or anything else, then you could throw a stone. But if you have, you couldn't throw no stone, because just by you throwing a stone, somebody could throw a stone right back at you. That's why I don't agree with cancel culture at times.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that cancel culture does that's really a slap in the face to, and it's hypocritical.
Now,
Jump
the snowball that, if I can just jump in, I apologize. Now, the snowball that started that avalanche of cancel culture, I do to a degree do believe in, because it was Harvey Weinstein and no one could stop him. And that was the beauty of using social media. It stopped a real monster.
Right.
And then along the way, we found some other monsters and we stopped them too. But now it's like that all the monsters are being slayed. Now it's like we have to look for every little monster.
We got to find a new one. Yeah. Well, see, that's where I think part of the issue is the fact that if you're the one to break the story, and I'm not talking just news, I'm talking individually, the likes and the retweets are an ego boost to you. So what you get for being that person, whoever I'll use James Gunn as an example. We've used that before, but whoever that person was that broke, that comment that James Gunn had 10, 12 years ago on Twitter, the likes and the retweets and the attention they got for being that person fueled a lot, because now everybody else is like, ooh, look what I can get. And that's the whole, well, you know what? They've got theirs. I got to get mine. I deserve mine, and then just pull them down. And that's
and that's exactly a point there with, like, again, Harvey Weinstein, terrible person, was going to continue to do bad things if no one stopped him. James Gunn said something in very poor taste, like a decade earlier, and had apologized for it. And then one day, everyone just went, "Hey, he said this one day. We gotta get rid of him."
Same thing as Bill Cosby.
Well, the cause, the cause is a little different, because the cause, I mean, the whole, sleeping and basically, the roofies and all that. That's a little weird. I think, is he out of prison now? By the way,
Yeah, he's been out of prison.
I'm just gonna say this, because he was too old to continue raping people, does not mean that he wasn't a bit of a monster.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, when I was at Steiner Studios, Silver Cup Studios, they used to, in the basement, have the Cosby Show on 24/7 down there, because that's where they used to film. When all this stuff broke, curiously, the TV was off, but it went from 24-hour Cosby and this one TV down the hallway to never on again.
Wow.
Because obviously what happened with Bill Cosby. And I've often wondered in this case what the rest of the cast has thought. Felicia Rashad, Keisha Knight Pulliam was the young kid, Lisa Bonet, and I'm drawing a blank on what Malcolm Jamal Warner, that's the one, the oldest kid, what they've often thought about all this.
From what I've heard, they really thought he was just a big inspirator, the person that tried to mentor and encourage. From the stuff I was told, like, they never knew this side of Bill Cosby. And sometimes there's certain things that occur where things were done in the past. We don't know what occurred. We don't know what type of lifestyle or experience that happened or what occurred during that moment. We can't really say anything because of the fact that we weren't there. It wasn't publicized until now. But even if it's publicized with now, why are you bringing it up now? What's the true intent? Because now you got to look deeper into the scenario of, are you trying to ruin somebody's reputation? Are you trying to get paid out of it? What's your true intention?
Mm-hmm.
And it was already settled. That's another kicker.
Bill Cosby's a weird case because, yeah, you could say, like, you know, why would you ruin the reputation of a man who was such a positive influence on Black culture? But in another sense, he was accused of raping between 50 to 60 women over 4 to 5 decades.
Mhm.
It's not really an argument I would care to make personally.
Yeah,
But I'm
I
not
mean,
making an argument. It's just that realistically, it's a touchy subject.
oh, hardcore touch. Yeah,
You
but
know,
I mean,
but at
like,
the,
but a lot of people's careers got launched because of him.
Mhm.
You know, and even to a
Mhm.
lesser, I mean, it wasn't launched, but Madeline Kahn was on his second series for 3 or 4 years. You know, Dougie Doug was on, you know, the not the Cosby Show, but Cosby on CBS. You know,
Right.
there was a lot of people that worked with him for a lot of years, and obviously Fat Albert. Geez, I grew up on Fat Albert.
Harvey Weinstein is responsible for launching the career of Kevin Smith,
I know.
as well as many other people, and greenlighting a lot of movies, I think Matrix included. Do
Mhm.
we forgive him for all the contributions he's made to arts and entertainment?
I don't know. I mean, do we forgive Jerry Lee Lewis for, you know, despite Great Balls of Fire? You know, I mean, he married his cousin that was 14 years old.
You know, and what else? R. Kelly. Well, I think we should forgive R. Kelly.
Dude,
We should
The
not forgive R.
Boondocks
Kelly.
did an episode on R. Kelly back in like 2006 or
Yeah.
2007. You know, I mean, they saw that shit
mean-
years ago.
I mean, people are turning a blind eye to Woody Allen for how many years?
You know, and that's where, like I said, that's where the question is drawn. You know, I mean, how much can you get away with when you're popular and famous? People
Mhm.
forget Mark Wahlberg nearly beat a guy to death.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you look at certain things like that. You know, you look at obviously what's happening right now, and I don't want to mention this to JD Walker because it drives him crazy. But right now, using the football side of it, Deshaun Watson. You know, Deshaun Watson has like 23 civil suits that he has to handle when it comes to rape and sexual assault. He just got traded to the Cleveland Browns, and there's big money involved in this. You know, and this dude has bank coming. You know, so he can pay off all his lawyers. But it's that whole thing of, you know, if you're famous in your craft and you're successful in your craft, how much rope did basically does society give you?
I just spent the last 2 days watching a wrestling event called WrestleMania, one of the biggest
I've
wrestling
heard
events in the world.
some people echoing your sentiments, by the way. Just want to point that out.
So I guess Saturday night was the first match Steve Austin had in 19 years. And on Sunday night, he came back to do a little thing with Vince McMahon, and
Mhm.
everyone cheered him and everyone loved him. When his music hit on Sunday, I jumped up out of my seat and cheered. And everyone totally forgets that he once beat the crap out of his wife.
Mhm.
But again, it goes into like, where do you draw the line?
The line.
You
Exactly.
know, it's one of those things that I think, where do you draw the line and what do you see done in the back end? You know, and I'm going to use Mike Tyson as a great example because Mike Tyson right now, you know, what happened with Desiree Washington back in the early 90s in the prison sentence, that all is barely an afterthought because Mike Tyson is that boxer who was that guy from The Hangover, that guy from
Yeah.
Mike Tyson's Mysteries, you know, that guy who speaks very honestly about the psychological condition that he is in. And he has all but gotten a near complete forgiveness pass for what happened for that prison rape, you know, that rape sentence 3 years ago. You know,
But
when he go ahead.
3 years ago?
Or no, I'm sorry,
No.
that rape prison sentence he got for 3 years. I should have said. No,
Yeah,
he was
so
in prison for 3 years.
So yeah, he did get a pass on it to a certain degree, but he went to jail. So he did to a degree. Yeah, then again, you know, he's a celebrity. That's why he got out in 3 years instead of the maximum 10 most people are supposed to get.
And additionally,
So,
when he
again.
got out, they threw him Peter McNeely. And that pay-per-view, which was $49.99 or $59.99, I forget how much I paid for it because I went in on it with a buddy of mine. Everybody, millions of us paid pay-per-view. And that was 1994 money, you know, of like $50 or $60 and then money because Mike Tyson was still such an absolute draw. and he destroyed Peter McNeely in like 89 seconds, as you expected. But at this point, I mean, like I said, when he did The Hangover, and he's sitting there singing to Phil Collins, everybody in the world just suddenly forgave it, and it was weird.
Well, remember how everyone thought George W. Bush was the devil, but then he gave candy to Michelle Obama? It's like, oh, that's cute.
No, but I mean, I think at this point, people are like, oh yeah, he was actually kind of okay. He's sort of okay.
Yeah, his paintings are kind of nice.
Or is
Supposedly-
it, and I hate bringing politics, or is it because at first we thought he was the evilest person, and then when we experienced somebody running
again, that falls into the whole politics part of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Everybody's got opinions. And in the earlier-ish days of the internet, pre-social media, back then when Bush was president, we barely had Facebook. MySpace was still the big thing, if you recall.
right.
So it was only, I think, when Obama kind of became president that the internet.
That's when
really,
social media came out.
Yeah. Because Obama used that to his advantage as the first president, I think, or first candidate to really ever do so.
And I won't get too much into politics because, to be honest with you, I don't really keep up with them myself. Scott probably keeps up with it better than I do. But from everything I recall, like a lot of what George W. Bush did when he was in office was a lot worse than what Donald Trump did when he was in office. The only problem is Donald Trump is more bolsterous and he's more out there. So you see him a lot more.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
But again, I'm not getting into I mean, believe me, I could get into politics if I chose to.
Right.
My general belief is my general quote is this: I am the political equivalent of Switzerland. I remain neutral. Leave me alone. If you attack me, I will destroy you. And that's pretty much how I roll with this. And I've gotten shit for that too, because like, well, how could you not sit there and voice your opinion? You make a difference. No,
Because
the way I make a difference is to basically make people's lives better on a day-to-day basis. That's my job.
when the last person I dated, I think I told them like I'm a moderate, and they immediately jumped on me on it. It's like, what does that mean?
Is that the one we met?
Possibly.
Mm.
But it was on she didn't really jump on me, not violently, but was kind of like, what do you mean by moderate? Because in the eyes of anyone on the right or left, a moderate is instantly the opposite of whatever they are.
Bingo.
Right.
Yeah.
And
if you're not with us, you're against us. Only a Sith and hardcore voters deal in absolutes.
Right. Like me, during the pandemic of seeing that was too traumatizing, because you saw friends attacking friends on political views, ready to strangle each other to death over their political views and who they favor the most. And you're like, dude, at the end of the day, whoever wins, would you really care?
I love some of my friends are very, very sensitive to some of the topics within that. And some of my friends are trolls. And I love it whenever I should say I love it because I don't encourage trolls. I don't like trolls. But still, when some of the more softer people are just like, we can't let them in the office. They'll destroy the world. They'll bomb everything. They'll kill everyone. And then a few months pass by, they're in office, and they're just like, so, did they destroy the world yet?
Yeah.
How are they coming along?
Oh, it's going to happen. Dude, it's going to happen. No, it's coming. I remember when a certain candidate was elected to office, one of their haters straight up told me, it's like, in 3 weeks, we're going to have World War III because North Korea is going to destroy us all. I'm not going to mention who they hated in this particular case, but yes. And clearly that did not happen 3 weeks afterwards, because while I do stay out of the voting aspect of it for the most part, I am typically aware of what's going on in the world. So if World War III happened, chances are pretty good I would have known about it.
Right.
Or we'd probably be dead.
Actually, statistically speaking, if they nuke New York City, chances are pretty good we will survive.
Yeah, Jersey was
because the radiation.
No, we are within the 30-mile blast radius. We will be
blast
dead.
radius. Yes,
we will be. We will not exist. We will be ashes against the wall.
I read something on the nuclear fallout because my brain works that way. But no, the odds are like 65% we would actually survive this because of where we're physically located. You would have to be, secure. You would have radiation fallout. but you would not be like ground zero of it.
Well, it isn't all right. You probably read more than I do. The last I had heard was the radius of the explosion is at least 30 miles, and I know I live within 30 miles of New York City, so I just figured I'd be dead.
Well, I mean, how about this? Let's not find out which one of us is right.
Right.
That'd be
That would
nice.
be really
That's
sucky
not
to
up
be
to
like,
us,
"Oh,
though,
right,
but it'd be nice.
Slice. Cut it.
Yeah. Cut, print, edit, checking the gate. We're done.
Anyway, moving on.
But yeah, so bottom line is this. It's like I said, it irks me because people force opinions on people that don't want them. And I had a conversation with somebody on Reddit the other day who referred to me because of my apolitical beliefs as a, quote, fascist sympathizer. And I was like, this is the exact reason why your side struggles so much. Because people like me are going to listen to those comments and do the exact opposite of what you want them to do. Because fuck you, I'm not joining your side.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and he's like, well, I didn't mean to insult you. It's like, dude, you call me a fascist sympathizer. I've been a Zen Taoist since 1994. What are we talking about here?
You're definitely a Nazi.
You know,
sound just like a
I've
Nazi.
heard that one too. You know, it's like, dude, I'm also Ashkenazi Jew on my mother's side. You know, I celebrate Passover. That's coming up in a couple of it's coming up damn soon. But anyway, yeah, like I said, it's one of those things that to me, like I said, it hurts society, I think, more than it helps it.
Right.
And why can't we all just get along?
No.
No, apparently not. Not enough money in it. Anyway, moving the hell on that one. So thanks as always for that part. So I wanted to talk to you. Have you guys heard about Morbius at all?
Yes.
I've heard of it.
Okay. You know, my experience with Morbius came from the 1990s Spider-Man series.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, that really
Radioactive.
bad that terrible auto synth that I hated that intro so much. It was terrible.
I used to sing it a lot as a kid.
Yes.
I like the X-Men one, or actually Wildcats. I don't know if you guys remember Wildcats.
Wildcats.
That's the one. It was opposite. It was opposite X-Men in season 1. I used to tape it one on the VCR and watch the other one. But no, Spider-Man Morbius. The only way I knew Morbius was from that. There was a mini arc in that.
Yeah.
Morbius has a 16% Rotten Tomatoes critic rating right now. Yet pulled in 83 million over the weekend. You know, I know you guys. I don't think either one of you guys have seen it yet. But
Nope.
I'm curious to get your thoughts on it. If you were considering it, you know, if you don't want to see it.
I heard the reviews and I decided no.
I had my intuition kicks in, and it's not because of Jared Leto. I know Jared Leto probably did a good job playing Morbius, but I feel like regardless of who the actor is, they can only do but so much. I think it plays on the director and the production company, who is Sony Pictures, because it's like too many cooks in the kitchen when it comes to doing that movie. That's what it felt like.
Which is kind of funny. It's because they only have the rights to the Spider-Man properties, and there's not too many Spider-Man properties they can take and build to the level of Spider-Man. I don't even think Morpheus was at that level, so it was kind of weird that they chose this. Like, this is going to be our next big blockbuster hit. But I don't know. I as much as I like the animated series version of it, I knew this wasn't going to live up to the hype, and I seem to have been right.
Now, right now on IMDb, on about 700 reviews, it has a 5.2 rating. The basically in this case here, do you want to take a shot? Boy, girl, and what age group has the lowest rating on this?
I would say guy, male.
Okay. Do you want to take a shot? Yeah, guy is correct. You want to know the age though?
I would say
35 to 40.
The 30 to 44 gives it a 5.1. The under 18 gives it a 3.4.
The under 18 gies it a 3.4.
The under 18 gives it a 3 point. It's basically in age group order, all up to 45 plus, which I'm sadly now in. 3.4, 48, 51, 55. So the older you are, the better it seems to get. On the women's side, it's 4.0, 6, 5, 8, 6, 4. So it did really well in the women that are 45 and older, possibly because you have the tandem of both Jared Leto and Matt Smith.
Yeah.
You know,
Sure.
two admittedly decent looking guys here that are running the show, regardless of what they end up looking like.
Side note, I feel bad that Matt Smith keeps getting crappy roles. He's like, he has not been able to find anything decent other than The Crown since he left The Doctor.
And he was good in The Crown too.
And
You
then
know,
they
he-
replaced him in another season.
Yeah, he was what, Prince Philip or something, right? Wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But we'll see. They also aged it out, so eventually went to. I think Olivia Colman took over as the Queen.
Mm-hmm.
Now, supposedly, rumor has it on the Matt Smith side that the 60th anniversary special, which Russell T. Davies is taking over, he is bringing Matt Smith back. So he is expected to probably do a collaboration of multiple doctors for the 60th anniversary special, akin to what he did for the 50th. You know, I personally, I would love to see that. There has been some rumors, like I said, swirling heavily that he might be trying to basically get Chris Eccleston to be back in it again because they've patched their shit up.
I think there was some sort of article somewhere, or someone interviewed Eccleston and said, he said, like, I would do it on this condition, but then I didn't feel like reading the article, so I don't know what that condition was.
They've gotten
I'm the
better.
best reporter.
Dude, it's not your department. You don't have to. But there's, like I said, it's apparently he and Russell T. Davies in the Doctor Who universe has patched things up pretty well. He's been doing Ninth Doctor audiobooks now, probably because it's really easy money. He goes into a studio or records from the house, and they're like, okay, that's ECCESTLON on the check there. But there, like I said, I think if Russell T was able to figure out a way to get 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13 all together somehow, I think it would be a great send-off to Jodie Whittaker. I think it would be a great stamp on Russell T. Davies who's bringing it back again. You know, because right now, as there's a new episode of Doctor Who coming in a couple of weeks involving pirates and things like that, people aren't talking about that. They're talking about Russell T. coming back, not Chris Chibnall.
Is Russell T. Davidson going to be in? Is he definitely going to be in charge of the 60th anniversary?
Yes, he is. He's taken over as showrunner once again.
And is Whittaker going to be gone by that point?
She is, but you could figure out a way to shoehorn her into that movie somehow. You know, I mean, you put the 10th Doctor in the 50th anniversary special. You could very easily get Jodie Whittaker in, and honestly, I wouldn't mind it because I'd like to see Jodie Whittaker under better writing because she is a very, very talented actress. She just got shit writing. You know, and it hurt her for the Doctor. Go ahead.
No, I think we all agreed with you.
Yeah.
You know, Devani, I don't know how much you follow Doctor Who or not like that, but we went off on a tangent with Matt Smith. So, okay,
Nope, no comment.
And no comment.
I'm like,
I was gonna say, I don't know how much you follow
to
Doctor
this.
Who. He's like, I'm not even gonna bother to answer. You know, I plead the fifth here. Anything I say can incriminate me.
yeah, thank you for the
Exactly, yeah.
tweeting the birds. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think in this case, like I said, let's come back to Morbius real quick. I'm surprised they picked up 83 million over the weekend. I don't know anybody that went to go see it. I don't know anybody that cared to even see it.
You
I
know
guess
what
just
it was? Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry, Devani. You go.
Oh, no, go.
That's all I had to say was Marvel.
No,
He's
I really,
Marvel.
really, to be honest with you, I don't think it was really Marvel. I think part of it was the fans of the actors that helped brought it in. People was like, oh, let's go see a little bit of Marvel, but majority of it is fans of the actors that helped the film reclaim it, like get a good portion of his money back because story-wise, the film wasn't that good. I'm gonna be honest. It wasn't enticing. It felt like it was like a slow burn to something that's like, okay, yeah. Oh, he's gonna be in spoiler alert, gonna be in the Sinister Six movie. Okay, that's a little yeah.
You're talking to
Sinister
Michael
Six.
Keaton,
Who is Sinister Six fighting?
Huh? That's
Who
a
the
good
Sinister
question.
Six fighting?
Probably
That's a
Tom,
good
Tom
question.
Holland.
That's gonna
Well,
be a good
you're talking the credit scene with Michael Keaton, right?
yeah.
So okay, I didn't realize you actually saw it.
Yeah, so realistically, the film was okay. It's just dragged, and it's no fault of the actor. It's no fault of the actors. I feel as though the way the writing was and the direction or the director, it could have been a lot better. if they basically would make it a little bit exciting and gave it to Marvel and Disney to me, because if they would have given it to Marvel or Disney, I think it would be way more entertaining than the way that Marvel Sony is producing, because that's when I said too many cooks in the kitchen. Pretty much too many chiefs, not enough Indians. Everybody want to throw their ideas and everything else. Yeah, cool, but let the director direct.
Now, in this case, go ahead. I just had a question when you're done.
Yeah, but if the director is not a really good directing, that's why you have to throw the aspects of, is it the director or is it the writer? Because the director can only do but so much with what is handed to him.
Yeah, films are entertainment and they're art, and for them to be successful, they have to somehow connect to an audience. And that's not something that there always is just a pure magical formula for. When you're trying to create something new, you have hit and miss. I mean, there are definitely things I think someone could go back and look upon and say, yeah, that wasn't going to work. Don't these people have like study groups that say like, oh, don't do this because people don't want to see this, and then it ends up in a movie anyway?
Here's the one thing that I've learned: directors a lot of times don't care because they have their own artistic vision and they're thinking about what the movie can do for them on their own resume. You look at Rian Johnson. He said outright that his best movie is the movie where some fans hate it and some fans love it. There's no middle ground. It's an opinion one way or the other on each side of the fence.
And then he did Star Wars and he learned better.
And he accomplished his movie. And as a result, did Knives Out, the two Knives Out movies. And he's gotten good reviews on them. He used Last Jedi to continue his resume. So the fans don't matter. It's about the next job. And that's where I think, when it comes to things like this, they may not necessarily be thinking about it. They may not understand the material as much. And also, to a degree, Marvel as a whole, they're really starting to stretch because you've burned through all your main characters. You've got now a fourth Thor movie coming out at this point. And Thor was borderline B. I would say probably more of a B character, not even an A character.
Yeah.
I'm getting kind of annoyed with this, where all the TV shows are now towards characters I think you would want to go see in theaters, and the movies are towards characters you may have never heard of before and should probably hurt them. Like, I'll be honest, until the Shang-Chi movie came out, I had never heard of that character before.
Same.
And I just barely knew the Internals. And what was the other movie that's coming out soon from Marvel with the new character?
Well, Moon Knight just came out on Disney Plus.
Okay, true.
Moon Knight. We What If Part 2, Round 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, even Moon Knight. The only reason I knew Moon Knight is because in the 90s I happened to buy a random Spider-Man comic where he teamed up with Moon Knight. Other than that, like, granted, then again, the only reason I knew Daredevil is because I got a firefighting comic in 3rd grade with Daredevil starring in it.
No, I knew when 2008 when they had the the Marvel comics where they issued and showed you updated superheroes. And Deadpool was one of the updated superhero characters, and that's what made me really like the character. But I was never ever able to actually buy comic books at the time. That was the first comic book I had. So, I think Daredevil became popular because of the memes. So you discovered him through a comic. I discovered him because people on MySpace and stuff were just sending me pictures of like, here's Deadpool just shoving meat down a vegetarian's throat. Oh, and the Shirokin punch. There he goes.
Oh, you can. Nice.
It's like, wow, you little, hey. I forget how the joke went, but he's like talking to Kitty Pryde and it's like, hey, do you play Street Fighter? As if, Shirokin.
Well, Kitty Pryde, I mean, nobody remembers this, but there was a Pride of the X-Men TV pilot that actually occurred before the X-Men series in the 90s.
Yes. And
that was actually what the X-Men arcade game was based on.
Right.
So the Konami one was actually that 6-player one was based on the Pride of the X-Men pilot.
It's funny. I'm partially colorblind, but I always played that video game and went like the color palettes were way off.
They
Yeah.
were just
And-
terrible anyway. No, it
and-
wasn't you with them.
Yeah.
Well, see,
But-
that was go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, but the color palettes did match that TV show because I did
Yeah.
catch it a little later on.
Well, see, that was the weird thing about Konami back then, because they just had this system where it's like, all right, we have the cabinet, X-Men, great. Let's reskin it. Simpsons, great. Ninja Turtles, great. Same exact game in every single way. If you knew basically how to do one move on one thing, you knew how to do it in all of them because it was just simply punch, attack, jump, or hit them both at the same time for a special move. Simpsons did it. Ninja Turtles did it. X-Men did it. And it's just like, it's almost like Capcom had their side-scrolling final fight that involved Cadillacs and dinosaurs or King Arthur or whatever it was, and then on the other side, you had the Konami stuff where it's just like a Ninja Turtles reskin.
Right.
Yes.
And you know what? We paid money for it.
Yeah.
But I remember Pride of the X-Men because Wolverine was introduced and he got stuck on a wall. His claws got stuck and he's like, oh, I'm stuck. By the way, he spoke with an Australian accent.
The irony.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know where to go with this, but yeah, I guess at a certain point we all get introduced to a character somewhere down the line and they just start to become popular. But I mean, like the introduction shouldn't be like the headliner or something. It's like professional wrestling.
Mhm.
The guy who had been wrestling on the independents for 3 months isn't going to automatically main event WrestleMania, but the guy who's probably been around 10 years and he slowly grew a fan base and
Mhm.
eventually was like, hey, this is just a really awesome guy and I've been following him for years. You get into that person.
Or that guy- or that
Again,
guy
with
that-
Shang-Chi, he's been around for years, but I was never really aware of him. I never read a comic. I watched the same cartoon shows you guys watched, the X-Men in the 90s, the
Mhm.
Spider-Man shows, etc. Never saw that guy. Never heard him mentioned before. And all of a
Even
sudden, he's starring in his own film.
And even when they had like Marvel versus Street Fighter or Capcom versus Marvel, that's how I learned about a lot of new characters. I never knew who Blackheart, Mephisto, or any of those characters were until that game. And I'm like, wow, he's got really easy cheats,
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, no, it's there's so many characters at this point that Marvel's digging in, and it's almost like they're just scraping the bottom of the barrel to dig up whatever they can now.
Yeah.
And Morbius, I mean, I'm sorry, not Morbius. Moon Knight, I am caught up on. So I did watch the other episode the other day. I am really hardcore hoping that it does not take place in the regular timeline that all the other MCU stuff does, because they can start fresh and they can start new. Now they mentioned the Armenian genocide, which pissed off apparently some people out there
Yeah.
because of the fact that they're talking about real world events. Meanwhile, Disney has this whole thing with China going on, leaving that out. But I'm really hoping that they're, like I said, they're doing a different universe in this case, just to be able to just start fresh and not have it in the entire MCU that we know. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Now think about it. It could still be in the MC universe. It's just that they have to be a different entity.
You know what it is, though? I'm tired of that. I'm tired of basically all of these things taking place in the Avengerverse, we'll call it. I kind of want to see stuff outside of that to start fresh and have its own, its own personal reboot.
Welcome to the comics, my friend, in Marvel and
Yeah.
DC for the last 80 years.
You know what
Yeah.
I want to see? Go ahead.
I just want to jump in real quick. We were talking about Deadpool before. I actually got into comics around 2004 with Deadpool.
Mhm.
And when I did, the only series he was in at the time, because he wasn't overly saturated yet, was Cable and Deadpool. And it was a
Mhm.
great series and was easy to follow. And then 4 years later, in 2008, when people started to finally discover Deadpool, suddenly there was the Deadpool comic, the other Deadpool comic, Deadpool Team Up, where he teams up with some other Marvel character. Each one of these comics was $5.
Mhm.
And I did not make the money I make today. So, and you have to like, oh, by the way, he's also going to show up in this issue of Spider-Man, and he's going to show up and team up with the She-Hulk, And
and basically, it's like it sits at the very bottom. It's like, check X-Men Unlimited 793 for a reference that they put in there.
And the movies are now becoming like that, where you actually like you can't just follow like Ant-Man 1, Ant-Man 2, Ant-Man 3. You have to go Ant-Man 1 and then go to Captain America episode 3, and then go to Avengers episode 2, and then go back to Ant-Man 2. Otherwise, you have no idea what happened in between.
Exactly.
And
that's
my
where
rant is
it gets so No, it gets so complicated by that. And that's where I think a lot of people are getting frustrated with it, where in my mind, personally, it's so much ended with just, Endgame. Endgame to me was Endgame. But I mean, I'm looking right now, it's like Deadpool Secret Agent, Deadpool Art of War, Deadpool Secret Wars, 2 secrets, Deadpool kills Deadpool, Assassin, Pulp, Encyclopedia Deadpoolica. And it's just I'm scrolling.
Now let's take a look at the movies going on right now with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So Endgame. After Endgame, what do you have to follow? Well, you have to follow the multiple TV shows that are now on Disney Plus.
Spider-Man.
You have to follow
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. You have to follow out all the movies that just came out, including the Sony ones.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, now you have to actually follow the old school Sony movies to understand what may happen in the future.
Yeah.
And all your old superheroes are gone. So who's leading the charge? You have Doctor Strange and Scarlet Witch, and it feels like the B team is kind of leading the next big epic moment.
Yeah. And it loses some of the magic on that because, again, there's no connectability. Fans may not necessarily know much about Thor, but they've heard of Thor. They may not know much about Hulk, but they know Hulk. Captain America. Now, like I said, you're going into the D team.
Yeah, if you're not gonna have the Hulk and you're not gonna have Captain America, at least the Steve Rogers version, and you're not gonna have Iron Man, what is really the point of continuing on with this storyline? I mean, your big guy is Spider-Man, and he's owned by a different company right now.
I remember Disney had said that they're going to do more Star Wars movies than you're going to be alive for. I think that same phrase also holds true for Marvel. It's like, what can, how much more can we scrape out of this franchise?
I mean, they do technically have the X-Men now, but like the X-Men's oversaturated over the last 20 years as well.
Yeah, but here's the thing about some of the X-Men stuff. I mean, not just X-Men, but you had like X-Men Evolution, Wolverine, and the X-Men. They weren't bad. But
who would play Dr. Xavier? Professor X.
And the funny thing about that, and there was a whatchamacallit, like
Idris Elba.
Who? Oh,
Idris Elba, because why not?
They said Will Smith or Denzel Washington as Denzel Washington's Magneto and Will Smith as Professor X.
Here's what I'll say: the next Charles Xavier will not be a white dude. That's why I went with Idris Elba.
Okay.
Wait, no, because think about Idris Elba already was also in the MCU.
Yeah, maybe fair point, but okay, Denzel. Yeah, I could see it.
Denzel wouldn't be a bad one.
Yeah, Denzel could work. I'm trying to think who would captivate, but doesn't look like ridiculously ripped.
I'm also thinking of Magneto, and it's like you can't really milk that that World War II concentration camp storyline anymore.
So Denzel should just be Professor X then.
Yeah, but who would you have as your Eric Lensher?
And what would their backstory be at that point?
Yeah.
I was gonna say, well, when in doubt, David Tennant. But I mean, I don't know basically how much Jessica Jones is already tied into that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay,
we got to do an episode on that. Figure out, the what if.
Yeah, how much time do we have in this episode?
Whenever I feel like it. So we can, dude. With the thing about grind my gears is it basically ends when I feel like ending. But I do know that it has to be done no later than 9:00. We're not going to run that long, but in this case, Brandon's kind of covering the NBA, the NCAA finals on this chat on this login. So
I'm trying to think.
Yes,
Dr. Doom, who would be a perfect Dr. Doom?
that hasn't been
That's a
used?
good question.
Wow.
Well, you know what? You got to think who Mr. Fantastic's going to be, which is going to be. I think they've been leaning towards. I can't think of his name. Jim from The Office.
John Krasinski.
John Krasinski. So, who would be the perfect foil to John Krasinski?
Rainn
I'm
Wilson.
No, the
Yeah.
guy from who's the guy that Far Cry? The one that's the new Far Cry. I forgot
don't
his
know.
name. He's Spanish. He's like Afro Latina. Oh God, I forgot his name.
Oh,
Wait, give me a minute.
I know. I'm losing track of actors.
Well, there's so many of them at this point.
He was in Do the Right Thing. He was in Breaking Bad. He was in Call Cell.
Aaron Paul
No,
or Bryan Cranston?
neither.
Oh no, wait, Dean Norris. You're talking the bald guy?
No. Hold on.
What
I
character
forgot
did he play?
what character you're casting for at this point. I even forgot that.
For Magneto.
Dr. Doom.
That's right. Dr. Doom, yeah.
Dean Norris could work. I mean, he's used to playing.
I found him. Found him.
Did you find him?
He played in Star Mandalorian. He had the black saber.
Oh, him? No, I think he's a little too old to be. Yeah, I think he. No, not him. I know who you're talking about now. I think he's a little too old to be playing Dr. Doom.
No, he can pull it off.
He's getting up there in age.
Let's see.
I think Dr. Doom really needs to be like 30s, 40s.
Well, no, in Fan Four Stick they made him young. Whatever that guy's name was. I mean, to this day I actually haven't seen Fan Four Stick either.
This actor right here, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, Giancarlo Esposito. Is that Giancarlo? Yeah, no, but no, he hasn't done anything with Marvel yet, has he?
No.
Wow.
No, he's in the other series, the Boys.
Dude, you almost wonder like who hasn't done something in Marvel at this point. Not who has, but who hasn't. You know? I mean, now you got three doctors in there that I can think of, three recent doctors. Capaldi might have been in an MCU thing too.
No, he was in DC. He was the inventor for Suicide Squad.
That's right, yeah. But you have the 9th, 10th, and 11th Doctor. They've been in the MCU so far. You got Capaldi in the 12th in DC.
Well, no, Christopher Eccleston. Who did he play?
He was the villain in Thor: Dark World.
Oh,
I mean, maybe you can get away with that based on how he looked, but I probably can't. But no, I mean, you've got 3 doctors already been used. Sylvester McCoy is still alive. Colin Baker's still alive. Tom Baker's still alive.
They're pretty up there.
Jared Leto? Whoa, dummy.
No.
We just had a conversation about Morbius on that.
I'm like,
I think our lesson here is to stop using him in movies altogether.
Yeah. He does seem to be kind of cursing movies here, comic movies. He just
Did you see that meme of like Darth Maul with his double saber, and one side is out and it says Jay Leto in the worst DC movie, and the other blade comes out and goes Jay Leto in the worst Marvel film.
And you know what? He is talented. But again, if you get a bad script, you get a bad director, you get bad editors,
right,
you have a bad performance. And that's the same problem that Hayden Christensen had. You know? Oh, yeah. Ewan McGregor has never done an MCU, has he?
He's done DC, but I don't think he's done Marvel.
Okay. What can we shoehorn him into?
Dr. Doom?
Ewan McGregor into? Dude, he's already tied to Disney anyway. You know, obviously he's got the Obi-Wan series, you know, so he already has connections with the Disneyverse, if you will. I don't know.
Jesus Christ. There is actors, but it's like, what characters can they fit?
Yeah. Christopher Lloyd. Hell, he's in Mandalorian season 3, which I have my own theories on that one.
That dude is so up there in age. He shouldn't be putting anything anymore. He's almost 90.
Well, I have my
not to be against people at age, but I just watched a 76-year-old Vince McMahon just totally ruin WrestleMania last night.
Now that the Screen Actors Guild no longer gives health insurance based on residual work that's been done in the past decades and only gives it to current work that you've done, a lot of actors are coming out of retirement to get work because they need the health insurance. My theory is, in this case, Christopher Lloyd did Mandalorian season 3 to make sure that he hits the 26,000 he needs to continue his health insurance. Because Back to the Future, Addams Family, and everything else that he ever did no longer counts to qualify.
Are you serious?
100%. I had to go on Cobra for 6 fucking months because of that.
Wow.
$1,700 a month for 6 months. Now, thank you, Joe Biden. You took 3 months off for free, but I still had to pony up 3 months out of that.
Thanks, Joe Biden.
So I had to pay $5,100 out of my own pocket.
Wait. I gotta do it. I gotta do it.
All right, gotta do it. No, not gonna do it. Not gonna do it.
Yo, Byron! What's good?
Nice. Yeah, but my theory is that, like I said, in all seriousness, that's why I think he's doing it. Because the previous stuff that lasted for decades, Rick Moranis did a commercial for Mint Mobile with Ryan Reynolds. He just showed up as like, "Hi, I'm Rick Moranis." And I'm pretty sure what happened there, Ryan Reynolds was like, "Here's your 26,000. Congratulations, you got health insurance for another year."
Wow.
Ed Asner, part of the reason I think that he was not honored at the Oscars is because he filed a lawsuit against SAG because people like him lost their health insurance because all the stuff he did for all those decades no longer qualified. Because out of nowhere, they dropped the bomb on us in the middle of August, during August 2020, in the middle of the pandemic, saying we have a $141 million deficit. We need to make it up right now. So we still had to hit our numbers, even though we were in a lockdown, and nobody hit their numbers. So I had to go on Cobra until I hit my proper numbers. Now I'm back on the health insurance again. But yeah, as far as people like Christopher Lloyd and people that have been around for a long time, yeah, I 100% believe that's why they did it.
In terms of health insurance, I think there's a double-edged sword with the American healthcare system. I do know we get in there a lot faster than people across the world who have that free healthcare, but at the same time, it's just like ours is ridiculously overpriced, and it's you shouldn't have to be killing yourself to survive in order to have the proper insurance to not get sick and die. You shouldn't have to be doing stuff that will get you sick and die.
You mean the days that I'm out there in 20-degree weather and snow and sleet at 4:00 in the morning to qualify for health insurance? Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, or working at 2 a.m. for a decade plus because you need that health care.
Yeah, I know. I mean, the good news for me is I'm like 2/3 of the way there, and I have 6 months to requalify for the rest. They get my other third, but it's a tough situation. And supposedly rumor has it is that the reason our health insurance is so high ends up making the rest of the world less expensive by comparison, because the companies are all like, we're going to charge the shit out of the US so we don't have to charge everyone else as much. If in London, in England, if you don't have health insurance, you can actually buy government health insurance for £300 a year, which comes out to be like $450.
But even if you go into a doctor or anything, the price of a visit is nowhere near as much as what's charged in the United States.
Right.
I had a situation 3 or 4 years ago where I took, against my better judgment, I took prednisone. Now, I don't know if you guys know what prednisone is, but it was an anti-inflammatory. It basically it's for colds and flus and things like that. But it has 3 major side effects: steroid rage, uncontrollable bowel movement, and also chest constriction. Day 1, I had uncontrollable steroid rage. I almost beat the shit out of 3 old ladies in an elevator. Day 2, I had bowel loss. So I'm sitting there in wardrobe given to me by a CBS series, and I'm doing what I'm calling a gravy leg. So I'm returning the wardrobe, and the shit is coming down my leg. Day 3, I was on the set of Law & Order SVU with my car, and I had to leave early because it felt like fingers were reaching inside my chest and squeezing my heart. And at that point, I went to the hospital. I went to the ER, and I had a $1,200 out-of-pocket after insurance premium, or our payment that I had to do, that was sent to collections because they chose to ignore every request that I had to say, your doctor gave me this medication. And it took me months to pay that off. That, ladies and gentlemen, outside the world, is the U.S. healthcare system.
Mhm.
And by the way, fuck prednisone.
Wow.
Dude, like I said, I'm terrified of that stuff right now. And like I said, the rage that I had that day with these, it was just like 3 old ladies that were in their 50s and 60s. And I'm screaming and I'm dropping F-bombs at them. And I'm realizing I can't control myself. And that was day 1 of 3 shit fucking days that I had to deal with as far as the reactions to this shit goes. So, yay, U.S. healthcare system. And now that my mother-in-law is moving in here, we're probably not moving to London anytime soon.
So much for that.
Yeah. Well, what are you going to do? At least I get the regular health insurance. So anyway, that was positive. So, who wants to talk about
other news?
Exactly. So, but now it's already at this point. Yeah, I was going to say it's already 8:20 at this point. We usually run typically to like 8:15 anyway. So I'll figure we'll wrap this up if you guys have any other thoughts or anything like that.
I think that's all for that. Well,
yeah,
we'll
I'm
see.
good.
So cool. All right. So we're going to have to end this on a little bit more of a positive note, I think, at this point. We got 2 shows coming up tomorrow. We got the Sports Den, where we're going to do breaking down the NCAA championship and also breaking down the MLB preview because, surprise it or not, we got baseball coming back starting basically later this week. So we're going to do that a little bit per JT's suggestion. We're going to probably do for Tales from the Film Set. I think you've mentioned something about like the worst jobs we wish we never took.
So no, it's kind of like the lessons we've learned from the jobs we shouldn't have taken.
Yeah.
So I won't give it here, but basically, tomorrow's show is going to be my last show for a while.
Yeah.
I'm taking on
But
a new
for
job.
good reason, though. Let's clarify
where
that. Good
my
reason.
schedule. Yeah, I'm taking on a new job where my schedule is changing, and I will not be able to come on the show for a bit. But I figure for a last one, we'll teach some life lessons and some things that we've learned in our time here that we can pass on to you.
Oh, yeah. And basically, between all of us, we've all had jobs that were like, oh, my God, I can't believe I took this shit. And, yeah, you already know I have a few of those, too, in the film industry.
Same here.
Yeah. So, yeah. But that'll be tomorrow night, Sports Den 4 p.m. Find that on Stream Punk Sports and Zingo TV 249, 250. And then Tales from the Film Set will be 3 hours later at 7 p.m. Eastern on the Tales from the Film Set YouTube channel and also Zingo TV channel 249 and 250. So, any other final thoughts, gentlemen?
No, we're good. Let's wrap it up.
Cool. Okay. So thanks as always for tuning in. I appreciate everything. Thanks a lot and head take care. Bye-bye.